Uh, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, Grant Milson, that rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of centering truth. Yeah, got this article on the Metro, and it's going into what they're calling conspiracy theories around the LA wildfires. And with that, I just it's basically got to the point now where with anytime these events happen, just as the progression of the internet's gone, the internet's really been that place where you can just kind of go and talk about things that in when you're dealing with people in person, a lot of people won't say. Obviously brothers out on the roadsides prophesying, saying what it is, but there'll be people that kind of think like, oh, there's something bigger going on. But then if you talk about it, I think, oh, someone's just their eyes are gonna start widening. Their head, they're just like, ooh, they're gonna get that look in their face like, oh, this guy, oh, he's one of them conspiracy theorists. But when you go online, then people get a lot more real with how they feel. And with that's the thing as well, is you've also had through the process of time more and more of these things that were at one point called conspiracy theories have been found to be true. And it's the number just keeps ratcheting up, which and the thing is as well, is a lot of them, you have people speaking on them before. The kind of example you can go to is just want to have in mind is with Diddy, where you had the interview from Cat Williams, where it was kind of breaking down like what goes down, and then all of that just comes out a matter of months later. And that's how a lot of these things go. It's they'll things will be happening, people will discuss it to a certain extent, but then what it's most people won't, it's not going to be a reality today actually witness it. And it's like the chariots, as or the orbs or the drones or whatever, as they're trying to classify it, so they can still view things like through their little, in their tiny little box, where they're trying to just put we aren't, now I understand everything. Now your government, you got your government, what do you call it, mentioning, oh yeah, we don't know what's going on there. Which means, yeah, they're saying it's not foreign countries, but then they don't know what it is. That means it's you then got to go to, oh, what is it? Was it aliens? Was it angels? What's going on? That's how, if you're in the world, the reality you got to do, or you just don't think about it. And that's what a lot of people do. They try and not engage their brain whatsoever. But that's you've had that process, and it's like anytime someone mentions what they'll call conspiracy theory, people will be like, oh, yeah, it's just conspiracy theory, mate. You really believe that? But then when these things get found to be true, there's, oh well, so I guess stuff happens. But it's that's the thing, is this shit's the real dealio. And the thing is, anyway, is some of these, when it comes to pass, it'll be a bit too late. And that's really dealing with prophecy. You get into prophecy, especially if you're Jake. You've heard tell about MOTB, that charugma, that mark, and what do you call it? People hear about those things. Okay, now, and then they might just they're gonna fan the hand, but then through the process of time, it will get to the real, where they're like, okay, actually, there might be something to this, and it'll be too late. Okay, this is on the Metro. It says LA wildfires spark odd conspiracy theories, disaster as part of smart city plot. No, disaster is part of smart city plot. And yeah, that's what's been discussed. And it's been like really from, I know in the UK it's like the late 90s into the 2000s where they've pushed into it. And you have a a private estate in London, Canary Wharf, which was privately owned. It's used as like a banking hub for what you call it, a banking hub um, for various companies. And they kind of have a concentration of like a bunch of different banks there, international banks, and then have a lot of infrastructure, housing, shopping, etc., all just kind of within the bounds of that area. And prior it was like docks. It was docks that weren't being used. Like it was just in disrepair. It was a fucking it was a shithole essentially. And then they sold it off, and then they developed it into that, you know, essentially a smart city. Because you have it where it's like private security um, is there, and then even with it's they have like I think the TFL Transport for London stations are what do you call it? Those still operate as independently. Then they're underneath some of the actually I don't think so. I think they just operate however the fuck they operate, because they're it operates like a part of London for the train stations. But then, other places, shops, housing, etc. It's like a private estate. Um, so they have, they can enforce like bylaws and whatnot upon you. Where it's like, and it's for recording. It's like we tried to film a video there years ago, and then like as soon as we started filming, man came up and said, "No, you need to get a permit. If you don't get a permit, you can't film on any part of like the estate." We had to go out to where it was basically just like the rest of London. So that's kind of a place that's been. That's why it's even to kind of go there and record and etc. It's not really that viable, because I think you can record whilst moving around, but then it's like if we're trying to any kind of like people try and even do like music videos or whatever. It's like even just like filming a TikTok or some shit. Then you're still getting like, because they got private security just roaming around. They'll just come and be like, "Yo, what's going on?" kind of a thing. And then they can, because private land, they can essentially grab you up and shift you off, etc. It's just long. But because that's what happened when we went there before. But then that's why that's kind of a prototype of what do you call that? What do you call it? A prototype of of what they're developing. And then you've basically got, especially with London in general, really has been pushed towards contactless, and it's big since C19, since the pandemic lockdowns kicked off. You basically had it where it was restrictions on using cash for health and safety. They were saying, "Oh, it's more contagious to use cash," and then a lot of places stopped taking cash, full stop. And then since then they haven't gone back, because they've basically made it. It's other than most of the people that are still using cash, they're kind of trying to skirt around like taxes and whatnot. It's like mum and pop, as I'll say in the States. It would just be like like corner shops or whatnot over here, where it's like smaller stores, and they're kind of really there. A lot of them that still take cash significantly are trying to like skirt around taxes and whatnot. And then what do you call it, with doing that, now you've basically normalized to a much higher degree contactless payments, paying with your phone, paying with a contactless card, whatever, a smartwatch, whatever the fuck. And that's like become habitual, especially on transport, TFL, because you had like Oyster cards. Those have been around for forever, like early 2000s, maybe like 2003, 2004, maybe even earlier when they first started, which is basically like contactless RFID technology, um, where and the thing is they still have Oyster cards where it's like you can buy them, top them up, put travel cards on them, whatever. But the way they've developed it now is people are so used to using your phone or just contactless card, like that's become the bulk. So it's kind of like had the normalizing people to it and kind of establishing more of the contactless infrastructure using uh Oyster cards. And then even with in London with the Oyster cards, they had what was it called? With the Oyster cards, they had for under 16s, you had free travel, and then for under actually no, I think you had free travel in London. No. So it was buses and trains. You had free travel for under 16s, and then for under 19, as long as you're in further education, you get free bus and travel. And then discounted prices when you're in uni as well through various schemes. So they kind of had an onboarding for like the youth, essentially for though from younger ages. Because prior to this, it was like probably about 60p around that time, 50, 60p to like take a bus somewhere, and then train would vary. But it was free travel. You're saving a fucking arm and a leg. Because especially getting to school, getting to college, whatever, it's like loads of it's like from young people are doing that. So most people are just gonna sign up, and then with the under the any of the ones where it's like you're getting the free travel, it'll have your face on it as well, have your face and your name on it. So basically, and it makes a separate sound when you tap it. Just the kind, it's all working towards that beast system being established. And that's like just in London, because London's small, because it's concentrated, and even from the 90s they had it was like the CCTV, the most surveilled city in the world. It had a lot of work put in to kind of develop it along, whereas it's kind of ahead in aspects when you compare to states, especially because the states is big, it's spread out, state by state, it's done differently. So it's that's the thing is as well with these things is you go to things like the WEF, the World Economic Forum and whatnot. These guys will outline their plans and desires for the future, how they kind of want to guide humanity, what they want to move towards. And these smart cities, these 15-minute cities, these you'll own nothing and be happy. Because why? It's like if everything's in a hub, you're not going to need a car. Then you don't even need to own a house. Or just be like, okay, just rent and have somewhere where you can stay, where it's affordable and whatnot. And then you have all your amenities and etc. Everything you need within range. Which sounds like it might be like, oh, well, that sounds appealing. But then there's something more malicious behind it, because you go to things like these insiders talking about the desires of the elite, and then you even have things like the Georgia Guidestones as well, where it says maintain humanity under 500 million in harmony with nature. But then that sounds sweet, but then in reality, what is it? In harmony with nature means how you gonna get down from 8.2, I think, or 8.1, 8.2 billion, what they're saying is that now, down to 500 million. I wonder. Says there's more than. Okay, let me skip the fucking catch up. Says online disinformation, and that's a funny thing that they already plastered it with disinformation. And that's kind of, it's funny, since like 2020, a lot of these terms kind of came through, and a lot of those terms were just used to basically be like, if you're speaking against anything, and at the time it was the juicy juice and whatnot, it was all kind of centered around what do you call it, C19, the jump shot and whatnot. And then with that, it was like, you say certain buzzwords, say certain things, then you're getting flagged, you're getting, Zeus's lightning bolts are zapping down and zapping your channel into the ether. So this is what has sparked a resurgence of bizarre conspiracy theories revolving around smart cities. So skipping down past all the fucking recap dog shit. Okay. So, it says one of the strangest theories which generated traffic online is that the fires were deliberately set in order to create smart cities. Fact checkers PolitiFact said Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, had flagged a number of posts which created a buzz around this idea. And it's funny that they say, fact checkers, because that was essentially the whole system they brought in around the time, like in 2020 in the pandemic, where it's like, you say certain things, underneath your video, you'd get the little blue box or whatever that would say anytime you're talking about it, like you mentioned, Ukraine, you mentioned certain things, and it would just, put the little box there, and then say like, oh, okay, yeah, that they're talking about. It'll say, oh, this is how you can check against blah blah blah, and it'll link to like Wikipedia or whatever. So that whole system was basically what a way of trying to mark people and then be like, don't listen to these guys. Essentially, that was pretty much it. And in what you call it, Meta, Facebook recently said they're gonna stop doing that, and it's even it's show being put on, because now is kind of the time they're loosening up what people can say and do online, especially like Twitter's been at the forefront, but now Facebook is following suit, especially with Trump about to come back in. So that's pushing out a whole different kind of vibration of, people expressing certain things, and it builds up all the kind of social tension all over again, especially racially. People have been, primed about immigration, about certain things, to hear about and then get upset. So, these things are getting pushed out, even though it's saying it like fact checkers highlighting that disinformation getting out, but then in reality, what like it's essentially about what the government, those in charge, desire to be talked about, or desire to, to be allowed. Is that the post made confused and sometimes inaccurate references to plans for improving planning, public transport, and sustainability, loosely grouped under the term smart cities. Some of these plans include retrofitting homes to become more energy efficient, or bringing bus and train networks online. A 2020 United Nations document called People Smart Sustainable Cities defines the term as an innovative city that uses information and communication technologies and other means to improve quality of life, efficiency of urban operations and services, and competitiveness. Yeah, and really it's just tying it all into the beast system, bringing in that RFID, these different forms of technology, 5G, 6G even, and RFID. Those things are the main things kind of into NFC as well. Therefore communication, all those things that's basically creating that means by which Esau can express himself as the Most High, and have a level of awareness, control over systems in real time, and try and essentially be like the Most High. And that's what you're seeing being laid out. Because it's funny, even with the we're now at a point where every, motherfucker on the planet has a smartphone. And then you go back, how long? So it was what, 2008, 2009. Yeah, when the iPhone came out. So in like a real short span of time, it's got to the point where any and everyone has like a smartphone. So it's a level of adoption to that scale. That's what they're after with going into these future plans, mainly based around MOTV, and seeing it work towards, seeing it come to fruition. But then obviously these guys just being like, oh, there's there's trying to say there's something to it. It's crazy, but you know whether it was meant to be on this scale, or it was intentional, whether it was as they call it, an act of God, or the fullness of it. What it's going to be utilized for is the key. The quote, don't waste a good crisis. Essentially, roughly paraphrased. I can't remember the exact wording, but it's it's going to be utilized to enact. It's a a legendary level of destruction, and it's in California as well, and it's a odd time of year for it to catch, and there's the sheer scale of ineptitude in addressing it has allowed it to get on a scale where it's fucking insane. A legendary scale. So then that means that in response to it, a lot can be done. And man are trying to say, oh, it's crazy. It's talking about the smart city. But then, okay, well, let's wait and see what happens. PolitiFact said its investigators found no credible evidence of reports that Los Angeles or other areas in the US are being destroyed to build smart cities. Thanks for that, guys. Thanks for that. Thank you for confirming. There's no fucking way. Just like you confirmed. Like that's the thing is as well is these guys. It's like there was a certain point in time, especially when it came to the juice, to the jump shot. You said certain things about. I remember when it first came out, they said like, "Oh, you're not going to be able to recapture it." And then people were recapturing and said, "Oh, actually, no, you can say it." Anyone saying like, "Oh no, you can get sick again," they'll like they'll destroy, they'll decimate your channel. Your channel's getting sent to the abyss. And there was a lot of these things where it's like they'll say like, oh, blah blah blah. It's how could we possibly what's it called? They'll say yeah, how could you possibly say such things? It's complete disinformation, complete confusion. You're bringing in blah blah blah, but then lo and behold, afterwards, then it flips to where people are getting zapped for saying it. Then 6 months, 9 months, a year later, they're saying, "Oh, and actually, that's the truth." And there's various things you can kind of do. That's really what has put a lot of people to where that they hear these things, and now they're wary because they've seen people saying, "Oh, we're not gonna." They're saying, "Oh, we're not gonna do this." And so, "Oh, people are saying that." No, it won't happen. I remember when they said they wouldn't do like track and trace and whatnot. There was a good little while they were saying like, "Oh, no, 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 no." There'll never be a point in time where you'd need to get it for you to be able to go out and do certain things. And then lo and behold, months down the line, that becomes the truth. The Kenneth file. So yeah, there was actually footage of people trying to start fires apparently, but some of it wasn't actually from what's happening now is what I was saying. But I didn't look into all the footage. But then it's even on a scale where you've are we really gonna know the fullness of what went down at present? because there was multiple fires as well. It's kind of wild how it all went down. But anyway, as far as for what the main thing that makes me think about these smart city things make sense is because why the main point anyway is to push towards that beast system. And then London, like I said, it's been a process over time where you go and you watch like movies set in London in the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s. There's a whole different spirit and vibration, and then that's all shifted, and there's been a lot of changes. A lot of the integrations of technology has been what in line with what they desire to do with the beast system, man. So of course, that's gonna be implemented in the States as well. Uh, Second Thessalonians 2:3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Yeah, that son of perdition needs to be, revealed and opened up. And really you know, for those of, hopeful elect, those in his truth that are aware, they've been opened up to it. We're already aware who he is. So it's a so-called white man. He's that son of perdition, son of destruction. And then, his the footprints, the warpath of carnage he left in his past. You can look behind him and see, okay, how has he operated since he's got the rule? Then you have to be like, damn, could there be anyone who's done a level of destruction on the scale? I don't think so. This guy's got space junk in space to where by like 2070 or some shit, it'll be difficult to even shoot up new satellites and whatnot. Like the guy's level of self-inflicted destruction is legendary, super heroic. Verse 4: "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High." And that's what all this technology, these smart cities, all that they're trying to achieve through the MOTB, through that beast system, is so that he can be like the Most High. He's essentially trying to have himself exude the power of the Most High, and and be perceived as such. I'll start from Ezekiel 20:3 on the same point. It says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom, with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches." Yeah, he's wiser than Daniel. And then through his wisdom, he's gained wealth, he's gained affluence. And then, with that comes exuding power. And then even dealing with Esau, his blessing is what? By the sword. His way of bearing rule, of gaining the world, is through the sword, through weaponry. And what does it say? Thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. He's full of pride. And that's why he's really trying. He's trying to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish, which is straight madness, straight confusion. You're aware of the scripture, you're aware of the truth, you're aware there's a chosen, you're aware there's a power, there's a Most High, and then you're trying to frustrate, what he's established, what he's even knowing already that you're in the grip of prophecy. You're still trying to be like, okay, no, we're gonna find a way to squeeze out. You're being deceived by the left hand side. The deceived and deceiver are his. you're toast, man. You're cooked. But those plans need to be played out. Why? For prophecy's sake. And then what? Revelation 12 and 12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And yeah, that's, why things are intensifying. That's why it's like, when in barely 2 weeks into 2025, you got California, you got LA getting roasted, man, to the point of a legendary level of destruction. Crazy. It's winter as well. Everything's at the door, man. It's all ready to pop off. And that means what? You're going to have that intensity where this devil really, lets his claws out, lets it be known what his true nature is. You got people like, oh no, the government cares about you. So even Kanye back in, especially with Jake, is like saying, what, Bush don't care about black people. I'm like, that's the kind of mindset y'all should be in. Like, why in the hell would these elites, these guys that bear rule, that hold power, care about Jake? How did you guys get over to the States, man? Think about that. Why are you still there? So Job 20 and 22, it says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain upon him while he's eating." So yeah, in the fullness of his sufficiency, when he's about to fill his belly, it's as Esau's about to complete his system. So he's going to get to establish a great amount. Most certainly that MOTB, man. That's going to be one of those trials. It's gonna be one of those legendary tribulations, and it's the whole earth's gonna be tried. It's not just the elect, not just Israel. So it's everyone's gonna be tried, and a lot of people they're gonna fold, because why? It's Esau's gonna be allowed to make a great amount of progress towards what he desires, because he's gonna be caught. What does it say? "And shall rain upon him while he's eating." So it's while he's eating. So he's going to be establishing a spectacular amount of that, what he hopes to, acquire that system, which is why you're going to have, that's why you've had, technology smoothly move along, and these things be established to where now it's people, the thought of using cash is disgusting. It makes people's stomach turn. Even bringing your wallet out to pull out a card, to tap on something to pay, when you got your smartphone forever just in your pocket or in your hand, or your smartwatch on your wrist. That's how easy it's been to kind of, move these things along. But then, there's further to go, and we're witnessing it. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.